Gun violence in this country is an epidemic, and it's an international embarrassment.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sophie Erber. President Joe Biden today announced executive actions against guns. This, of course, following several recent mass shootings. We'll explain those sweeping measures in just a moment. But first, what we know today about that recent shooting in South Carolina in our top story at 5. Authorities have confirmed former NFL player Philip Adams shot and killed 5 people in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Wednesday afternoon. A prominent doctor, his wife, and their 2 grandchildren among those victims. Local law enforcement say evidence at the scene led them to suspect Adams was responsible. This morning, police discovered Adams killed himself. Authorities have not yet determined a motive. Today, President Joe Biden rolled out 6 new initiatives aimed at curbing gun violence in America. These include investing in violence intervention programs, as well as closing some federal gun loopholes. Biden announced tightening restrictions on spread and manufacture of ghost guns. Woodbury County Chad Sheehan says he is concerned that some of the initiatives go against people's constitutional rights. He's concerned as sheriff, but he says there is a benefit to tightening restrictions to ghost guns.
I can see where the ghost guns are a concern, because then it makes it much more difficult when those weapons are used in violent crimes. Makes it nearly impossible for us to trace the weapon, to find out who may have had the weapon.
Coming up tonight at 6, KCAU 9's Lydia Vasquez shares the impact Siouxlanders say the gun control initiatives will have. The number of minors alone at the U.S. border has hit an all-time high tonight. U.S. authorities picked up nearly 19,000 children traveling across the Mexican border just in the month of March. Now, it is the largest monthly number recorded. This is, of course, a major test for President Joe Biden as he reverses many of former President Trump's immigration tactics. A complex mix of policies and conditions in the United States and Central America is driving this increase. The governor of Texas tonight blames the Biden administration, calling his policies, quote, reckless. Here in Siouxland, Sioux City is getting a financial boost towards building a new aviation center to the tune of $1 million. This in the form of a grant from the EDA. Now, the money will go towards the construction of a $7 million facility built near the Sioux Gateway Airport. The center will partner up with area schools and colleges to provide flight training, making it a fully accredited flight school. It will also support the 185th Air National Guard. City officials expected to create 42 new jobs. In crime news, a Spirit Lake man has been found guilty of murder. The ruling comes down 11 months after the killing. This is Greg Winterfeld on your screen. A jury found him guilty of second-degree murder. The victim is 58-year-old Grant Wilson of Ireton. On the night of May 9th, 2020, Winterfeld shot Wilson with a revolver. It was at a residence 3 miles north of Ireton. Sioux County Sheriff's offices responding and found Wilson dead at the scene. Court documents reveal the shooting stemmed from an argument between those 2 men. A sentencing date has not yet been scheduled. And shots fired in Estherville on Wednesday. Police say it happened during an argument between 2 roommates. 21-year-old Alejandro Reyes of Estherville is now charged with attempted murder, as well as other weapons and drug-related charges. The incident happened at 615 North 8th Street. Estherville police say during a dispute, 1 man was reported to be out of control, armed with a gun. That man was determined to be Reyes. Now, the victim reported Reyes was shooting both inside and outside the home. At one point, pinned him against a wall and fired 2 rounds at him. Now, Reyes was booked into the Emmett County Jail. An Estherville man is now dead after suffering serious injuries after a crash yesterday. It happened Wednesday just after 6 o'clock at night. A motorcycle and a pickup truck collided. It was at the intersection of South 8th Street and 2nd Avenue South, again in Estherville. 25-year-old Samuel Woolery was thrown from his motorcycle. He was treated at 2 different hospitals for injuries, but he has since died. Police say he was wearing a helmet at the time. Now, the driver of the pickup is 35-year-old Angel Archaga. He is also from Estherville and was arrested for driving without a valid license. It is time tonight for our first check on the weather. Meteorologist Marcus Beasley standing by. Marcus, welcome back. And you brought the rain and cooler temperatures.
That's right. We're seeing that rain out there today, and we've had it throughout much of the day. And along with that, cooler temperatures. The good news, it does look like we are going to begin to warm up in the coming days. And it also looks like we're going to see some drier weather as well. Today, we had temperatures in the 40s here throughout much of Siouxland. Really, we've had consistent temperatures all day. Overnight tonight, you can expect temperatures to drop down into the lower 40s. So we're not really going to cool off much compared to where we've been throughout the day, just cooling off a few degrees. It does look like tomorrow we could still see a little bit of rain, but those rain chances are much less compared to today. I'll have more details on that in the 9 on 9 forecast. Sophie?
All right, thanks, Marcus. Unity Point Health facilities are now offering rapid COVID-19 testing to asymptomatic patients. The test is a quick nasal swab and takes about 30 to 45 minutes to get your results back. Regional Medical Director at Unity Point Clinic, Jeremy Granger, says this will come in handy for those who need fast results before or after traveling, as well as for those who have been exposed or just want to get out of quarantine.
You can schedule that as a nurse visit in our clinics now, meaning you just come in, the nurse sees you and swabs you, and then you leave, and it's not a full-on visit. And there are even cash options available now for that.
These rapid antigen tests are not free, but they will be offered at all Unity Point Clinic primary care locations, as well as at the Unity Point Clinic Urgent Care. That's located in the Sunnybrook neighborhood. And today, nurses from Mercy One Siouxland partnered up with Palmer Candy to help administer the final doses of the vaccine to their employees. Around 70 people were given shots at the Palmer Candy headquarters. It was their second and final dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Employees say they're happy to be fully vaccinated. Health experts told KCAU they felt good to help out. Once human trafficking victims are rescued, there isn't always a place for them to go or a way for them to make it out on their own. That's where a Siouxland tea company is stepping in, and I'll show you how in this week's Siouxland Story. They might look like ordinary coffee beans. They're anything but. These beans were harvested in Asia by former victims of the sex trade. Victims a man living in Lawton, Iowa, helped rescue.
The farm that they're harvesting on is owned by a former brothel owner that my partner led to the Lord, and this guy became a Christian and set all his girls free.
In fact, 22 of the 63 girls and women Bradley and his partners helped save are the ones harvesting those coffee beans in Asia today.
Typical momster, he had to have a place to hide his money, so he bought some really expensive tea farms and coffee farms. And so now he lets the girls come out and harvest the tea and coffee out there and stuff. And so then we're buying it from the girls, so they are harvesting it, processing it, and then we buy from them direct.
And the profits from the tea and coffee sold nationwide by Teshua Tea is helping give these women a new life, one cup at a time. But let's back up to where it all started for the Siouxland man named Bradley Hop. Hop nearly lost his life a few years back when this tractor flipped over and caught fire, pinning him underneath. He says his accident put life into perspective and was looking for a way to continue helping these recovering victims who were starting a new chapter here in Siouxland.
It became, let's see what we can do with this in other countries. Let's see what we can do with this with the girls. Let's see how far we can really push this thing. And
that thing became Teshua Tea and Coffee. Bradley says he thought about naming the young company Freedom Tea or Deliverance Tea, but was drawn to the name Teshua.
In Hebrew, it means deliverance, but in this Asian language, it means special tree with an exclamation point. And I was like, that's perfect. It encapsulates the whole vision of what Teshua is all about. We rescued 63 girls, and we've had to split into 2 houses because now we have 41 girls and 2 female staff. Well, actually, two of the girls have now stepped up into assistant house moms positions, which I think is really awesome. Sorry. So we really make sure that the girls are really prepared for life out in the real world. And so we teach them how to run a tea shop. We would teach them how to harvest and process tea and coffee, how to make bracelets and coasters and run a CNC machine, how to do all these different things. And it's not so much about per se what they're learning on that skill per se. It's learning about having a work ethic, and it's learning about how to be prepared.
If you'd like to support Teshua Tea's mission, Bradley says it's as easy as placing an order online.
We have a pour coffee that comes from a large Asian country, and then we have a Thai coffee that comes out of Thailand. And And I do several different roasts on those, and I do them all fresh on demand. So whenever somebody orders coffee from us, it's literally roasted, it goes in the bag, and it goes out the door. So somebody that's ordering from California will get it within 3 days.
And of course, they sell their namesake tea.
Really try to specialize in single source varietals. And so we don't do a lot of blends. I have a couple blends, but we really want to feature the tea because this is such high grade, high quality tea that we're able to, bring in stuff that people are not going to just find anywhere.
And if you're interested in trying one of these products, we've posted a link for you on our website right now. You can check it out at SiouxlandProud.com or our new KCAU 9 mobile news app. Well, since she was a child, one woman dreamed of coming to the United States. How she's making her dream a reality today, coming up.
And a few showers on Friday are still possible. It does look like a sunny and warmer weekend with seasonal temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Details on all of that after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Sophie Erber and meteorologist Marcus Beasley. This is KCAU 9 News at 5.
Join KCAU 9 and Siouxland OBGYN for our 7th annual Stuff the Stroller Drive.
Thanks to KCAU 9 support, we've provided supplies to thousands of Siouxland families.
Drop off your donation of diapers, wipes, and other baby necessities at local Hy-Vee stores.
Upper 50s to near 60 degrees, so we'll kind of see those temperatures up and down again. Here's a great picture sent in from a viewer of a sunrise at the lake. I'm not sure what lake that is, but it's just a beautiful picture all around. You've got the flowers there. Nice springtime picture here in Siouxland. If you have any photos to send our way, especially some springtime temperatures, go to SiouxlandProud.com, click on the weather tab, and drop down to send us your photos to upload some pictures for our website. Sophie?
A gorgeous shot. Thanks for that one, Marcus. Well, pockets and pants get a lot of attention from women. I'll extend that to dresses, too, mostly because they're rarely there. How one girl is advocating for change coming up. But first, passing her U.S. citizenship test was a proud moment for one woman. How her entire school family came together to celebrate her achievement. Next. Welcome back. Students and staff at one school lined the hallways to celebrate a big achievement. Their cafeteria manager had just passed her citizenship test. Katrina Adger shares the excitement.
An immigrant from Cuba, Yanet moving from Houston a few years ago with her family for better job opportunities.
When I was a child, I have a dream, like say Martin Luther King, right? My dream was come here to this great country.
One dream fulfilled Monday. Yanet passing her test to become a U.S. citizen. The children lining the hallways to celebrate her big accomplishment.
All the students give me hug. USA was exciting. I was crying like a baby, and the teacher were crying.
Yanet, not the only one passing the test, but her whole family, including her husband and 3 children, ages 17 to 28.
I know everything about United States, Constitution, President, everything. It's amazing. I know. I learn a lot of history because I love this country.
She is just a joy to have on my staff.
Principal Michelle Anderson says watching these kids cheer for the woman who cares so much about them brought tears to her eyes.
I was crying, she was crying, all the teachers were crying, and we were just so proud of her. And I think it means more to us than anyone because she's part of our family.
Congratulations. Well, she is a pocket-sized inspiration, literally, after noticing her jeans didn't have front pockets like her brothers did. One girl wrote a letter straight to Old Navy. We'll show you their response next. Signed, sealed, delivered was a very persuasive letter written to Old Navy complaining about one of their products, but it wasn't penned by a celebrity or a member of Congress. It was composed by a 7-year-old. ABC's Will Gans has the story.
Cameron Gardner is a pocket-sized inspiration.
I didn't like the fake pockets because I like pockets.
Right after she learned about persuasive writing in her 1st grade class.
Well, it actually wasn't really an assignment. It was like a couple days after we learned about it.
Cameron put pen to paper.
She was just really frustrated with her jeans not having pockets while her brothers had pockets.
I was gonna just tell the Old Navy people, but I don't know them, so I decided to write a letter.
The 7-year-old putting this letter in the mail. Dear Old Navy, I do not like that the front pockets of the girls' jeans are fake. Would you consider making girls' jeans with front pockets that are not fake? Mom and Dad were surprised when corporate wrote back.
I was really grateful that they took the time to write a letter back in the same way that she had sent them a letter.
Old Navy saying, thank you so much for taking the time to write us about pockets on girls' jeans. It's great feedback for us as we develop new product. But even better, they sent Cameron 4 pairs of girls' jeans with pockets.
Yes, the back and the front.
Cameron bringing the jeans to school to show her classmates, teachers, and friends.
Mission accomplished. Taking a live look outside right now from our tower cam on a somewhat stormy night here in Sioux City. Marcus returns with one more check on your forecast. Before we wrap up at 5, let's check in first with Tim for what's coming up at 6. Hi, Tim.
Hey, good afternoon. Kind of a soggy afternoon, nonetheless, but I guess we've managed to get through. Coming up at 6, reaction to President Biden's actions today. Those announcements of orders targeting what are called ghost guns. Those are guns that are self-assembled or firearms made by somebody at home. They don't carry serial numbers. That's why they are considered ghost guns. We'll take a closer look with local reaction to the president's actions coming up in just a half an hour. Elsewhere this afternoon, authorities are seeing a spike in the number of crimes involving the theft of ATMs. Smash and grab kinds of crime is what we're talking about. Attempts to break into ATMs more than doubling in just the last year. We're checking with local authorities to see if that's a problem here. And Siouxlanders continue to have additional opportunities to secure a COVID vaccination. Mercy One Occupational Health and Palmer Candy partnering today for a workplace clinic. And we should also mention that the already scheduled mass clinics at the Expo Center here in Sioux City now have been filled as far as those appointments. Sophie.
Those are popular places to quickly and efficiently get them. Thanks for that, Tim. And overnight, we can expect a little bit more of the same, but things are changing soon.
Yeah, we are going to see things change soon. Tonight, we'll still have some rain chances, a low of 42 degrees. Tomorrow, still a little bit of rain, but warmer temperatures, 60 degrees tomorrow. And that rain will be lightening up tomorrow. It looks like Saturday's going to be a really nice day.
Looking forward to the weekend already. Thanks, Marcus. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here at 6. And until then, good night.